All right, everybody, it's the 26th of November, 2021. I'm Scott Miller, and this is the Sheep Guarding Llama vlog. And today being Friday, but the Friday after Thanksgiving, we kind of have a holiday, as Americans know. Not a lot going on. I checked this morning. There was nothing needed with me and the office. Everything was handled, so got a hold of Saeed. We had talked about this a little bit last night at Thanksgiving dinner. He said, well, if things are clear, let me know. They were. He ran up to Leon, picked up a rental car, Toyota Corolla, came down, and then Paul's like, well, I want to come along. And then Domenica's like, well, I don't want to be left behind. So the four of us piled into the Toyota Corolla, hooked up the GoPro, and drove from Las Penitas to Matagalpa up in the Northern Highlands. It is the first time that Paul's ever been to Matagalpa, and the first time that Domenica or I have been back in 6 years, and Saeed's never been there, surprisingly. Whole bunch of people in that truck waving. Oh, look at all the bikes we're waving. Everybody wants to be on YouTube. Oh, there they go. I don't know where they're heading up the hill. So, yeah, so we rented the car and took off, but it took forever to rent the car, so we didn't get on the road until nearly 10. We headed up to Leon, and as you'll see in the clips, we lost our tire, then we got the keys locked in, so it took a long time to actually get on the road, but once we did. All right, today's adventure, we set out, because it's Friday after Thanksgiving, and we decided to set out for Matagalpa and do some filming today. So we borrowed a car and are in Leon and just doing a few errands before we get on the way to Matagalpa. While we were driving through Leon, we blew a tire. While putting the spare on, the keys got locked in the trunk. So now we're ripping out the back seat and just got the keys. So we're now able to get back on the road again and get filming. It's about 12:30. It's now been about 2 hours trying to get on the road. We were able to film a gorgeous drive warp episode covering everything from Leon all the way up to the Mirador in Matagalpa, which was fantastic. Now the adventure is, once you get to Matagalpa, there's no way to use like Google Maps. Google Maps has no idea where the roads go. None. Absolutely none. It's garbage. Every road is fake. Everyone that is there that's real is in the wrong place, and most of the roads it shows don't exist, and half the roads that do exist it doesn't show. I have not found anything except for the main highway that even is the same on the map as the road. No intersection with it, though, is correct. And this is the same as it was 6 years ago. If you remember my my blog at sheepguardingllama.com from 6 years ago, talking about how horrendous Google Maps was, Matagalpa and Leon specifically are the two cities that they were so terrible for us when we used to live here. So apparently Google has done nothing to fix that situation. It just continues right on as it always was. Anyway, so we did work our way up to the Mirador, which was very hard. It's absolutely crazy. It's a lot like driving through, you know, the mountains of Spain or Italy or Greece with all kinds of switchbacks and tight little roads that a car is not meant to go down. These are all roads that are older than the automobile, and it was really, really hard. We actually had a couple times where we had to like back up and like twist around a corner. And oh, we have a really cute dog here. We're gonna say hi. There's a doggy. All right. And at one point the car actually came to a stop on an incline. We pretty much burned out the clutch trying to get it to go. So I mean, this was rough, right? But we finally got up to the Mirador, and I have to say, this is one of the most amazing things in Nicaragua. If you're here, you got to do the Matagalpa Mirador. It is absolutely awesome. It's so high in the mountains, and Matagalpa is such a beautiful mountain town, so you get way up above it on the north side, and then on the south side is the famous cross of Matagalpa, plus there's a Virgin Mary. It's much smaller, but it's with the cross, and the Mirador is on top of this mountain with 15 meters of scaffolding that you can climb up, and a big platform that you can hang out on, so it can handle a lot of people, and the views just go on and on and on, and you can walk around. It's got to be at least a 45-degree sweep or more that you can walk around and get different views in different directions. You can see down the valley in both ways. You can see the river and every bit of the city. And if you look at a map of Matagalpa, it's not a city that would be easy to see from all in one place. So being able to see it as it curves around the mountain is really cool. I mean, seriously cool. And you can see like into the neighborhoods because they're behind the city, right? Because there's mountains in the way, but you're so high you can see on all sides. It was worth it, absolutely. I would drive hours just to go stand in the Mirador for 15 minutes. Like, seriously, that was something. Then, so I did a bit of filming, took lots of pictures, checked Flickr, there's a lot of stuff on there already. And then we decided we needed some food. Of course, I was like, let's go downtown and find one of the good restaurants, but, you know, Paul's not great at being able to wait for food. Once he's hungry, he's kind of hungry. So we decided to eat at La Republica, which is the restaurant at the Mirador. My expectation was that it was going to be super expensive. It was not. It was actually very reasonably priced, so we were very excited about that. We ordered pizzas. I didn't order for myself. Dominica ordered for me because I was busy filming for at least 45 minutes. I didn't want to stop to go order. So it worked out that they were able to order their food and wait for it while I took care of the filming. It didn't end up wasting any time, and they didn't have to be upset that they were waiting for me for filming, which they shouldn't have been, because the purpose of the trip was to do filming. That's why we were there. But once everybody tags along, it just becomes a road trip, and everybody forgets that it's a work trip, not a fun trip. But, so we did that, and then the food was atrocious, absolutely atrocious. It was completely wrong, first of all. So Dominica and I ordered a mushroom pizza, just mushroom, cheese, and barbecue sauce. I have no idea why Dominica ordered barbecue sauce. Well, I guess because it might have had onions and peppers in the marinara and the pizza sauce. The barbecue sauce was watery crap. It was awful taste. The cheese was horrendous. The crust was not very good, and they forgot the mushrooms. It was the only thing, and they forgot it. Paul ordered a pepperoni pizza that also had mushrooms and green peppers and onions, and on his, they forgot the pepperoni and the onions and the green peppers. The only thing they remembered on his was the mushrooms. So he got a mushroom pizza with pizza sauce. We got a just plain pizza with barbecue sauce. All of it just awful and barely edible. Saeed ordered a meat pizza with just lots of meats, and his actually came essentially as he ordered. It wasn't very good, but at least he got what he ordered. But overall, just the quality and the accuracy were just terrible. But at least the price was good and the service was friendly. So, hola! So that was not the best meal that we were looking for in Matagalpa, but it was at least in the most absolutely beautiful spot. So that restaurant, La Republica, sits as part of the Mirador. So you can actually sit in the restaurant and walk through the Mirador while you're there. It has its own viewing areas. It has multiple levels of seating. Absolutely gorgeous. The whole thing's well designed. Physically, it's great. It's just the quality coming out of the kitchen is not good. If it wasn't for that, I would be happy with the prices being doubled if they made the food good, right? Because it's in no way is it expensive, and it should be given where they are. But I understand that there's a lot of people who are going there and just, they need to eat, they want to be able to enjoy the view, and they don't care how bad the food is because they need it to be cheap, and I appreciate that. But I think it would overall be better if they just went for a good dining experience, because I think if you made that place is so fantastic. You could make it a top-notch dining destination, and people would make a huge effort to get up there to go eat at a really fancy, expensive restaurant, and maybe have a snack bar or something so you can offer both. I don't want to cut people out who want to get food and just enjoy the view and can't afford to do something fancy or don't want to do something fancy. I get it, but we totally would have paid way more for a good dining experience. So if you're listening, La Republica, consider adding quality food to your menu. We're willing to pay for it to sit up at the Mirador. So up here at the Matagalpa Mirador, we drove all morning. Well, we waited all morning to be able to get a car. So we didn't leave Leon until about 11 o'clock. And then when we were in the city, we blew that tire. And then the keys got locked in the trunk. And that just made for a big adventure. So it was quite a while before we were actually able to get on the road. So it's rather late by the time we got to Matagalpa, and we were all really hungry. We needed to do some filming. We came up to the Mirador, which there must be a better way to get up here, but Google Maps is completely hosed in Matagalpa. It's always been. 6 years ago when we were here, Google Maps was useless. Every road was wrong. Things were in the wrong place. 6 years later, it's exactly the same. Took us all kinds of places, showed roads that weren't there. Nothing on the map was right. We finally made it up to the mirador after going up. So we burned out the clutch almost completely. The roads were crazy. We came to a complete stop. The car couldn't make it up some of the roads. It was an insane drive. We came up the mirador. I'm going to spin around real quick. Sorry for the spin, but this is just crazy gorgeous. And I'm not upstairs. This is just the main floor. This is the city of Matagalpa behind me. And these coming up, these are the stairs that go upstairs to another 15 meters, so 18 feet higher, to the mirador. There's a cross here and a shrine, and the famous, I'm going to spin around again, way over here, if you can see it right there, is the famous Matagalpa cross. So this is fantastic. Anyone who comes to Matagalpa, you always see pictures from here. There's also this restaurant, La Republica. We're so hungry, we're just gonna eat up there. And a friend of ours from the city said, well, there's La Republica up there, you should just eat up there. We're like, oh, cool. So we got here. So the menu doesn't have a lot that isn't meat, and what it does have a fish. Of course, we live on the beach, so we didn't go for that. And so I'm going to recommend you don't eat here. So we ended up just getting pizza because the only thing we could find that everybody really wanted. We got 3 pizzas, right? 3 completely different ones. And first of all, the crust is not good. And the sauce, terrible. And the cheese is really bad. And I get pizza in Nicaragua all the time. So this is not a Nicaragua pizza problem. I've had pizza in this town that was really good. So it's not that. And our order was totally wrong. Dominica and I ordered a mushroom barbecue pizza, but it didn't come with mushrooms. Paul ordered a pepperoni, mushrooms, onions, and green pepper pizza. It came with only mushrooms. And I can't even say the sauce that was on it was a pizza sauce. I don't know what that was. Saeed did manage to get what he ordered. I don't know that it was good, but at least he got what he ordered. But ours were so far off. I mean, ours just didn't have the mushrooms, but it was a mushroom pizza, right? And so both the order completely wrong and the food just awful. But we were starving, so we ate anyway. I gotta say, this mirador is fantastic. This is totally worth coming up to and spending some time. I would not eat here, but maybe get cocktails or something. The service is really good. The girls are really nice that work here, so no problem with that. And this is just, these views, I could stay up here all day. If you do come up, make sure you're bringing cameras because you're gonna wanna take a lot of pictures and video up here because, this isn't just one view over the city. This is a sweeping view along the mountain range, and there's the Rio Grande River goes through the city, so it all wraps around this mirador. And I just can't get over how fantastic this is. And you can see the mountains here. It just goes on and on down the valley, and the sun out there. I've always loved this city, and I've always seen pictures of people over here at this lookout point. I've never had a chance to come up here, even though we have friends. Carla and Anna are actually from the hill just below the mirador. But yeah, and then I'm going to show the tower that you can go to. Let me tell you, the views from up there are really, really something. And then there's this whole complex here behind me. So yeah, well worth it when you're in Nicaragua. And if you do, let me know. I'll go back happily. So we did that, and then we had to run around the city to do some errands. We had to meet up with a former employee who had a phone to give to us. So we went to the cathedral because it's just easy to meet on the steps of the cathedral, and that went pretty well. She was able to meet us. The traffic was crazy because Matagalpa is always having a festival. It's like the festival city. Last time we were there, we couldn't get anywhere. Everything was closed because of festivals, which is fun, but it makes it really tough. So it took forever to get anywhere. We were just stuck in traffic for the longest time. Then we were able to finally park, walk a long way, and then we did film some crazy festival stuff going on, even though we were there at the end of it, so we caught only the smallest bit, but it was still interesting. We really wish that we had not eaten at the mirador when we got down there, and there were all these really cool, all these really cool vendors that were out on the street. There was a great looking Chinese place that we really wanted to eat at, and lots of street vendors that looked really cool, and we were sad because we had just finished eating. So by the time we were done with that, it was actually getting dark because it had taken us so long to get going, and Matagalpa is so far away. And we did spend an hour or more at the Mirador, so that was not nothing. And then probably an hour getting around downtown. So we were using up the day quickly. We thought about, we wanted to go see like a waterfall, Cascada La Luna or something like that, but we decided it was getting dark and it was probably best to get on the road and head home. And if we wanted to do something, we would do it somewhere else. So we made it a really quick turnaround in Matagalpa and got back on the road. Next time we go to Matagalpa, I really want to go for at least a 3-day weekend because I love that city. The weather is so nice, just everything. It is a beautiful city with so much to offer, and I want to explore the food and maybe actually see one of the festivals. And there's all these street vendors and there's all these little neighborhoods. Like, it is a cool city that is not super large, but it is such a different vibe than, say, Leon or Granada, and of course completely different than Managua. So Carlos, this is Carlos coming by. Say hola. On his way to El Simple. Must be, oh, it's early. Yeah, so it was a cool day, but I can't wait to come back to Matagalpa. This was way too short. I don't want to spend 2 hours in Matagalpa. I want to spend a couple days. And it is, I think, on my list of cities that I like to hang out so far in Nicaragua. It's really high up there. And if Dominica had not always been so opposed to the mountains and the roads up there, I would probably prefer to live in Matagalpa because of all those things, right? The weather is so perfect up there. And she was able to handle this drive no problem. And Saeed is not the smoothest driver. So if she was okay with him driving, like with me driving up there, it's nothing. I don't know what she remembers of that drive. She did say she may have been remembering Jinotega, not Matagalpa, and combined the two in her mind because it really is a pretty easy drive. And you can watch the drive warp, which will be coming out probably in a month or so, and you can see how smooth it is driving up to Matagalpa. There's no bridges, there's no twists and turns, no tunnels, nothing like that. It's very simple. So we got back. It was dark when we got back. No issues on the drive back, and hung out at the Simple. Took the dogs for walks and everything when we got back. That was about it. We stayed up for a while, just watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine and hanging out with the kids. Dominica went to bed. On the early-ish side, I stayed awake because tomorrow is Liesel's birthday, and not just any birthday, but she is becoming a teenager, and so I stayed up at least until 11 p.m. here, which is midnight in New York, where she was born, so that I could wish her happy birthday first as the clock clicked over to midnight in New York. That was our day. Tomorrow we will be, on Saturday, celebrating Liesel's birthday. That will be the big thing, so I will see all of you on Liesel's birthday.